Hey there, it's Kay, and I want to thank you so much for joining me for today's budgeting video. Today I'm going to be giving you guys my final update for March's budget, and what that's going to entail is my debt snowball update for the end of the month, tracking my spending for week 5 of March, and then after I get all of those numbers in, I can finally close out March's budget and see if I have any rollover to use in June's monthly budget. So I'm gonna jump straight into it, and if you're familiar with my channel, my planner might look a little different to you. I am trying out the Frixion planning system, so instead of having all of my planners separated, I decided to combine my journal, my budget planner, and my regular happy planner and keep it all in the same book, because I'm hoping that way I'll be able to stay on top of everything a little bit more. So we're gonna hop into the budget planner here, and it's pretty much exactly how I had it when it was separate. I have March and April in here. I still have this makeshift folder where I had a bunch of stickers in here and just everything so far. So we're gonna jump straight into the debt tracker because I want to give you guys my debt snowball update first. So currently I only have educational debt, and I have 2 different types of debt. I have an outstanding tuition balance with my old university, UMass Lowell. And then I also have student loans through Nelnet. And I have 2 groups left in my Nelnet account. They are B and G. And I have been tackling B since the beginning of this year. It's my target goal. Let's get all the beginning numbers here. So I actually have February's numbers, because February's ending numbers are March's starting numbers. So with UMass, 9,900, and then in total for Nelnet, it's 8,991.53. The way the Nelnet balance breaks down is that G has $6,000 even, and B has a remaining balance of 2,991.53. And this put my total starting debt at 18,891.53. So that's all the beginning numbers. It is time to see the progress that I made for March. So the UMass tuition is a fixed expense. It's a monthly payment that's made on autopay on the 15th of every month. So no matter what, every month I'm always paying $50 minimum to it. But since I'm not tackling it, I almost thought that said additional payment because I'm so tired. So actual payment is $50 because I didn't pay anything extra. And then the Nelnet does not have a minimum right now. But I did, let's see, I had $258 off of paycheck 1 and $195 off of paycheck 2. So let me just add those up. So that comes out to $453. So that's how much I paid, and I paid that specifically to B. So my UMass debt has no interest on it, and that is fixed. It is just been that way since 2015. So I can cleanly take the 50 out. So that leaves $9,850 on that debt. And currently the Nelnet, the student loan forbearance is still in effect. So on my Nelnet, I also have no interest on those. So I can cleanly take the 453 out. So it's 2,991.53 minus 453 leaves 2538.53 on Group B. Group G still has $6,000 on it, So in total, it's going to be 8,538.53. So for the ending balance, it's just going to be adding these two together since this is broken down into these. So it's 8,538.53 plus 9,850 leaves me at 18,388.53. And I had a minimum payment of 50, but in total I paid 503. So that's how much my debt went down this month. So I'm going to grab an arrow sticker because I feel like I haven't done that in a while, and I've just kind of purposefully left them in here. So I guess I have to decide that I want to use green because that's the most obvious choice for March. And that's pretty much on par with what I had estimated back in February. So these are the values that I had estimated for 3 months. I'm going to be doing a 2-month projection because May, June, and July are going to get kind of messy for me because I'm going to be moving, but I'm going to be in between leases, so my housing's not going to be the most stable. So for right now, I'm just going to do April and May because I don't know what things are going to be like, at least for June. And if you haven't seen it, I've already started April's monthly budget. I already put out the first budget update, and I was able to sneak in a $370 extra debt payment based on what I think my income is going to be. And that's because I drastically reduced my saving. I also drastically reduced some of my variable categories to try and make room for that. So I am going to try to stick to that, but if I don't quite hit it, I'm not going to be mad at myself. That's kind of more of a best case scenario than a worst case scenario. And if anything, I'll have to cut back from saving to be able to hit that depending on how my second paycheck goes. Now for May, the goal was to drop down the extra debt payments because the student loan interest was supposed to resume, and so I was thinking that I'd be able to do 75 to 125 extra on top of what would be my regular monthly payment for my Nelnet. But since the pause has been extended, I do want to try to take advantage of it still to pay down as much as possible before the interest resumes. But at the same time, I do need to be realistic with my expectations on my low income. And so I am going to shoot for a little higher than what I estimated, but I'm still going to shoot lower than what I've done for the past couple months. So for May, my goal is going to be a $200 payment, and these are both going to be on Nelnet B. So that is where I stand on my debt for the end of March. Now I'm going to move forward to finishing off my variable expense tracking for March onto my calendar. So I have, these are the tracking colors that I was using on March's calendar here. I'm looking at my my credit card statement just to make sure I didn't miss anything, but honestly, like, I actually didn't spend anything after that. So week 5 was a complete no spend for me. That's really surprising. I was just looking at it and I was like, that doesn't look right for there to be nothing after there, but I guess I no spend for an entire week, so I should add that actually. I should celebrate that. So let me get some no spend stickers. Where did I put them? I was like, I know I printed a new sheet of them. These are from Caffeinated Kate's Printables shop. So I printed and cut those myself with my Cricut. So Actually, let's do the numbers first. Let's do the numbers, the hard part first, and then we'll celebrate with the fun part, the stickers. So again, I didn't add anything and I spent nothing. So in allowance, I ended with a surplus of 17. Food, I ended with a surplus of 81. Laundry, I had a surplus of 40. I really didn't fill my laundry. That might be the one thing that I did and then I didn't write down. My laundry envelope is empty, so I definitely did use it. So spent 40, balance is 0. And I should mark that I did. And then pet, I was deficit. I did overspend in pet by 27. And then transportation plus 9. And transportation was kind of tight too for March, right? It was only $30. I only spent $21. That's awesome. So for all my categories, I need to subtract. So for allowance, I started with 60. I ended with 17. So I spent 43 total. For food, I started at 300 and I ended at 81. So I spent 219. And then laundry, I spent the 40. And pet, I started with 80 and I was deficit 27. So I spent 107. And then for transportation, again, I started with 30. I ended with 9, so I only spent 21. That's pretty cool. So I need to add these numbers into my monthly budget, which is on the opposite side, so that's going to be really annoying. So I'm going to do the calendar part first, and then we'll just go straight into the numbers, closing the monthly budget. I'm sorry if the structure of these videos is kind of all over the place and a little bit sloppy, but it is a new format for me. Please bear with me. I'm just really trying to limit the amount of different types of videos I have to make, because I feel like it is easier for myself to do this type of video, which is what I really wanted. So I'm going to go ahead and just add all of my no spends in. I don't have my tweezers with me, but I don't feel like grabbing them because I've already had to grab so much this video. So some of these are going to be super crooked, but that's okay. That's kind of interesting how this month worked out. I did a lot of spending in the front of the month and then was like, yo, I'm spending too much. And then I just kind of really didn't spend at the end here. So that was a pretty solid month in my variable spending. It looks pretty good. I'm fairly certain I'm going to have a decent rollover from my monthly budget. So now what I'm going to do is close out my monthly budget, which I don't think I've done on camera for quite a while. So we're going to take the actual numbers from paycheck 1 and paycheck 2, transfer them into the actual columns from my monthly budget next to where I did my estimated numbers, and calculate it out to see what I have left over. And I've definitely got my calculator on standby because there's going to be a lot of crunching here. So I'm going to go through my work, my actual income. So my first paycheck, I was shorted. I was at $9.20. And then my second paycheck, I was surplus. I was 1075. So 920 plus 1075. Oop, that was an extra digit in there. So that puts me at 1995 for my actual income, and also my year of birth. Tail end millennials represent. So that does put me deficit 5 on my work income. My January rollover I took in at the front of the month, which definitely helped me out considering I was a little low and I didn't carry anything over. So that remained the same. And then for my tax return, I estimated $2,400 and I got $2,440, so that surplused me. So in total, my monthly income was $45.55, and that puts me at a surplus $35 for income. So that's actually a very slim variance. So that's a fairly tight but fairly accurate estimate that I did there. So that 45.55 comes down, and like pretty much all of these bills here that I pay on my first paycheck are on auto pay. So there's no variance on that first set. The rent, what I've started doing is calculating my rent and utilities as two separate amounts because my rent is fixed, but my utilities are variable. I happen to pay them together. That's why I group them both as fixed expenses because they're due at the same time on the same date. So my rent was the $821 that I estimated, but my utilities came out to $99 instead of $115. So the only variance in my fixed expenses comes down to my utilities. That gives me a surplus of $16. So $12.08 minus 16 puts me at $11.92. So in the category total, I was surplus 16. I'm going to add that surplus to the 35 surplus. Gets me $51 surplus. And 4,555 minus 1192 gives me 3363, which is $51 more left over than I budgeted for. So now we're going to take these down here, and this is where the variable spending comes in. This is really going to influence my my rollover here. So for allowance, I spent $43. For food, I spent $219. And then laundry, I did spend all of it. And then pet, I spent $107, so that's gonna hurt me a little. And transportation, I spent $21. And so I had plus 17, plus 81, 0, minus 27, and plus 9. So out of the $510 that I gave myself for the month for variable spending, I only spent $430. So I'm going to add up my variable variances. Plus 81 plus 9 minus 27 is an $80 variance, and then 510 minus 80 is $430. So that's perfect. So in total for variable spending, I surplused 80, plus the 51 is going to give me a surplus now of 131. So you see how it keeps building. So we have 3363 minus 430, 2933. That is going to come into savings. And I didn't do any savings off of my first paycheck. I did it off my second paycheck because that's when I got my tax return. So I used nearly everything from that tax return to stuff my sinking funds here. So I'm just trying to see. I didn't have any variance here. Yeah, I did not. Okay, perfect. So everything that I budgeted for is exactly how I stuffed it. So I came in with a 131 surplus, and I had no variance throughout the whole category. So that means I've still net 131. And the total was 2,400, I think. Yes. Which matches, so that's good. So 2933 minus 24 is going to leave 533, which is a surplus 131. Now, I was going to be able to fit $402 based off my estimated numbers, but off of my actual income, I was able to do $453. And since I paid more than I budgeted for, that's going to be a deficit. So 453 minus 402 is 51. And that's cool. So you can see there was a plus 51 because of how these two worked out with my income and my fixed expenses. So that's where that 51 went. So pretty much everything that's left over is due to my variable expenses. So I should have $80 left over after I do the math. So 533 minus 453 is 80. And 131 minus 51 is 80. So that is the end of March's budget. I'm going to be able to roll this $80 into June. So I'm going to just... So I net positive $80, roll to June. Actually, roll to May. Sorry. If I've been saying June the whole time, it's just because I'm freaking out about June because that's when I'm moving out of my current apartment. So the $80 will be rolled into May's budget in a couple weeks, not June's budget. Sorry. So there it is. As March's budget is all done now, I can finally close the book on it, and I'm actually going to add it in here after February because after I franken planned this on the discs of my Happy Planner, and these are regular sized ones, not the expansion ones that my budget was on originally. So the space is a little tight, and I am going to need to add May soon. So March will be closed up in my Stargazer notebook. And I do have a little bit more room in here. So thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this video, I hope that you liked it. And again, I know the format is going to be a little hard to digest. It's hard for me to make right now. I'm still trying to work out the groove of it. But let me know all of your thoughts on it. Even if you have some criticisms, I'm totally open to them. Also, if you want a tour of my Franken planner, let me know. The other purpose of me Franken planning is because, again, I want everything to be one centralized unit. As I gain the courage to start making full Happy Plan with Me videos, I just want everything to be in one place. So if you want a tour of that, please let me know in the comments below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Again, I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you down in the comments, and hope to see you in the next video. Peace out.